Do you have a passion for woodworking and want to get instant access to over 16,000 woodworking plans and projects? Well, now you can, with Ted's Woodworking Package. Over 16,000 projects and woodworking blueprints like these, with step-by-step easy-to-follow instructions that will save you money on your next woodworking project. And you don't have to be a carpenter or joiner to build beautiful woodworking projects like these. Let's listen to these testimonials. Melvin Jones. Of all the woodworking kits I have bought over the years, this is the best collection I have. In saying this, I think it's an excellent book and DVD for beginners as well as seasoned woodworkers. Kevin Rohn. I have been looking for something like this for the longest time. As the title says, there are 16,000 blueprints and projects in this kit. They tell you about wood, how to design projects, detailed photographs, patterns, blueprints, material list and step-by-step instructions on how to build them. So if you want to get instant access to over 16,000 woodworking plans and projects, just click on the link below.
Today we're doing a woodworking project, and this is the building of a candle holder. The candle holder is a very easy project for students to do. Basically what we're doing is taking two pieces of wood. I roughly do about 12 inches for each by approximately 5.5, with a depth of either 5/4 cedar or a 3/4 inch plank. What we're looking at is the back of the candle holder will be any scene that students basically want. Sometimes I use trees and mountains. Later on you'll see a mountain scene that I've done that resembles the Three Sister Resorts. What we're looking at here is the finished project that a student has completed already. This we use 3/4 inch cedar, and or actually it's 5/4 cedar, sorry, and it's got the three sister mountains in the background. Students have completed this on the bandsaw and or the scroll saw, and we've used the drill press. And as you notice at the front of the screen on the wood, we've also used a router to give it a nice edge. Here you'll see a regular 3/4 inch plank of cedar. It's approximately 12 inches long. On the left hand side you'll see that a student has copied out a mountain range in the background. It can be the template that a teacher can give them, or they can make their own. But you'll also see on the right hand picture that I've given a template of the three circles which are evenly distributed apart, and students can simply take carbon paper, put it under the template, and simply draw where the circles are going to be. Once the students have gotten their cedar, the first thing to do, of course, would be to sand it the first time, get all the rough edges out. This one, the holes have already been drilled, so a student would be sanding it for a second time. But normally you would just simply take a palm sander and sand it down flat. Here's a good example of the template that a teacher could give to a student. So again, carbon paper underneath, find your wood, draw your circles out, and then use the drill press to make the holes. What you'll see in this one, of course, is a student has chosen to draw a different mountain range. You might want to help them out on that to make sure that the mountains look like they're not just big V's sticking up in the air, to give us some kind of contrast. If you do have the 5/4 cedar like in the picture here, it gives a bit more of a three-dimensional look than just a 3/4 inch plank that's on the back. But again, it all depends on the budget and what the teacher allows you to actually use. Once the student has the drawing out, then they can use the scroll saw, as in the picture here. That gives it a more precise look to it. Or they can simply use the bandsaw here. Now, students just have to be careful that their cutting is more precise on this one. Sometimes they have to cut out V notches on it so the blade doesn't turn as easily as you know in a scroll saw. Then a student will take it over to the drill press, and on the drill press what will happen is the teacher should be the one who's setting the lock on the exact depth that he wants with the for the candles, and lock it in place so the student doesn't go through the wood totally. And then it's advised that either the students hold it down very carefully as the teacher has shown them, and or they clamp it down as they're going. Sometimes clamps are more beneficial for certain students who aren't strong enough to hold it. Accidents can certainly happen if it's not held down properly. Once they turn on the drill press, again, you're just taking little bits out at a time. In this drill bit here, we go down and up and down and up, chewing out the wood as we go. Since it has the lock format on it, then the students can just go to the precise height on it. And then lift it up, turn off the drill press, and they're ready for the next hole. Once they've got a nice clean hole, like in the picture here, then the students would go around with sandpaper on the inside, of course. You'll notice in the picture here that I've used a router on the front. That's an optional thing for the students. If they want to make it nice and clean and looking like a router edge, that's fine. If not, it's by simply using a palm sander and rounding the edges perfectly fine. Once they have all the parts of the project, the two boards sanded down nicely, including the mountains, then we go to the final stages of the project. And the final stage should basically be gluing the mountain scene down. I would highly recommend that you take 2 screws underneath, countersink it, drill upwards, and that would be perfectly fine to hold the mountain in place, and it will never come out. Otherwise, they can certainly use a compressor and use a gun to shoot up underneath, but even then the mountain is a bit wobbly at times. So it's certainly up to the student and up to the teacher as they use it. So this is the candle holder project. I use the designs from the Three Sister Mountain Range just outside of Canmore, Alberta, here in Canada, and I hope you enjoy the step-by-step presentations.